Thank you all for being here. We wanted to. There were various questions that coming in about the TMD action today and how we respond to it. So we thought we'd do it all together. I was very pleased when the TMD board voted to basically ratify my request that the Balboa Park Centennial Celebration be accorded the highest priority in their disbursements for the coming year. This is going to be the major event in San Diego in 2015. It's going to take a whole year of our energies, and San Diego is going to have the attention of the world focused on it. It's going to be a high-class major production, and it's worth doing and it's worth fighting for. And I'm glad that the TMD recognized that the tourists, both nationally and internationally, that are going to come in from this celebration are worth supporting. I mean, that's what the Balboa Park Centennial Committee is doing. It's marketing this production that we are having for the whole year. And in the next few weeks, by the way, we'll be rolling out the basic framework of that celebration that is being, in fact, planned right now. So I'm very pleased that they have ratified that. I'm sorry, really, that once again it came to this kind of dispute. I thought the agreement was very clear, that that we came to an agreement several months ago that the Balboa Park Centennial was going to be high on the priority list for funding by the TMD. The reports that we had last week were that they were basically playing political games with the Balboa Park Centennial Committee, that they had not intended to live up to the agreement of the amount of money that should be given. So we're pleased that they ratified in a vote today that the Balboa Park Centennial Celebration has the highest priority. I don't think I need to say anything more unless you want to ask any questions. So the money will be released, or has been already been released, that they invoiced us for. By the way, they invoiced us on one day, and then 3 days later they started complaining that we hadn't paid the bill. I mean, they know that the city takes a little longer. There's an audit of the bills, of the invoices and the vouchers, and they know every bill has been paid in 3 or 4 weeks over the past 5 years. So to submit a bill and then start whining after a few days would seem to me very inappropriate. So, but I'm glad that they have agreed with us, and they've accepted my conditions. Actually, it's not my conditions. It's the conditions that the agreement was based on and voted on by the City Council. And hopefully we will continue, both of us, to live up to that agreement. Questions?
Do you see this coming to a head again, like a year from now?
I hope not. I hope not. Look, the agreement was that for 2013 and 2014, that is the lead up to the 2015 centennial, that they would get 10% of the funds for the full year, and it was a 5% for this half year. But and I hope that that's what occurs. That's what the motion I think that they passed today represents. That's what the agreement called for, and that's what I hope will live up to it. Again, I'm the one who basically signs the checks, so they better live up to it.
Was the 500? How does that rank?
Well, our figures that we used in the agreement was based on a complete that the county assessor and the TMD had said we're going to get we will receive $30 million. That's what the 10% of that is $3 million a year. The 5% is $750,000. I think of what we thought would come in. But less money is probably going to come into them because not all of their hotels have signed the waivers that would require the release of funds. So those figures were based on how much money they would get, and that's where the percentages came in. And that's we had a maximum amount, say of $3 million and $750,000. But they were based on the maximum thing. So the $500,000 seems to be, but if it's 5% of what they assume will come in. If it's higher, the Balboa Park people will get more, up to $750,000. So, it's a reasonable amount. The Balboa Park Committee needs it now, and I hope they will get their check immediately.
Is there a reason, I don't know how the law works, but is there a reason that, since you were able to say, I'm holding up these amounts, you could have just taken the 750 or 500 without their vote and allocated and given them the rest? How that?
You have a sneaky mind, which is the way my mind works, which is what I thought about. But our agreement says we have to pay them the money because that's how the tax is collected. I thought about my staff was trying to hold me down here, make it payable to them or endorse the check on the back, only payable to the, but under the agreement, we have to pay them.
And then my last question was there like before this vote today, what was your impression of how much the Centennial was going to get for this fiscal year?
Oh, well, the reason why all this came to a head is because they came to me and told me what had happened at last week's meeting with TMD, where they were completely dissed, I think is the word. One of the board members said, all you're having is a drunken party for the year. It showed that they had both no understanding or no respect for this Centennial, which I think is going to bring in more terrorists. Don't put that in. No, bring in more tourists than that they may bring in. I mean, this is going to be a massive attraction for tourism, and I don't think they understand it because it's not under their control or something. And so they left the people on the Balboa Park Committee so demoralized that they came to me and said, "It doesn't look like we're going to get any money." Was the first thing I heard. They kept putting on caveats and caveats and caveats, and said, well, if we have to put this amount of money away for legal, and we have to put this amount of money away for this, and we put and this is going to get that, and that's going to get that. So you may not get any. Is the impression I was left with. So that's why I made such a deal about it. I was really angry that they were not living up to their commitment. This is good for tourism. It's good for the taxpayer. It's good for San Diego that we support the Centennial celebration. And they seem to be saying, it's a pretty low priority. We're going to forget you in all of the calculations.
So they raised concerns to you?
The Balboa Park meeting, yeah, the way they were treated at last week's meeting. This week's meeting was a lot different. And it's because I stood fast on behalf of the agreement that we had made.
Thank you.
Is part of the problem because the plans for the Centennial have been so vague?
No, that's not the point. The plans, as we will show in a couple of weeks, are pretty specific, but that was not the point. No, but the people on the TMD board don't want to understand it, apparently. They didn't. They had no respect for it. They didn't like the fact that, it was included in the agreement. Remember, that was a part of the last kerfluffle. Is that the word? Kerfluffle. Kerfuffle. Thank you, Ms. Greenman. Anyway, they didn't like it. I mean, it was forced upon them. They had no intention of doing this. And yet, that was the agreement reached with the city council. And they showed complete disrespect. If you could say this is just a drunken party for a year, doesn't sound like you have too much interest or respect for what's going on. This is going to showcase Balboa Park in a way that's never been done before. Thank you, guys. Yes, please.
Just yesterday, you spoke to my camera and called them whiners and incompetent. Are they still?
Well, I'm glad they did the right thing today. I thought, again, they were, if you're a business and you need to pay your employees on a Friday and you submit the bill to the city on a Monday and you expect the bill to be paid by Friday, with 5 years of history knowing that takes 3 or 4 weeks, that's incompetence. And then they started whining about it. So, now they're whiners who made the correct decision.